Was there a eureka moment when, you know, the first single that you heard that you thought, I love that record, this is kind of what I want to do? Did you both have a record that triggered you in that way?
I certainly had Summer Holiday by Cliff Richard, which is an unlikely choice, I know, but why it worked for me on a couple of different levels were that I was 5 when that came out, and for me the idea of getting on a bus and stepping off of it and having people dance around you seemed like a tremendously entertaining thing. Now, that wasn't the sole motivation, but it was nevertheless a tremendous pull for me, and I think from that point onwards I always wanted to be a musician.
A bus driver, yeah.
You cleaned me out, you could say broke. Now was that love? The better it gets. The more these girls forget that that is love. You won't get dressed, you walk about. Now is that the teasing glance has pushed me out. Now is that the tougher it gets, the more my lips frequent. Now that is love.
There was a tremendous development in the 60s that, you know, I was there as a happy listener, a child getting into my teenage years. But I think that sort of leap forward hasn't really been replicated since, in terms of, if you think about the number of Beatles spots that Oasis perhaps, you know, based their career on. Actually, the Beatles were already there for 5 minutes before they'd moved on. That says quite something about the rate of development that was going on, and also, I think, how much people were listening to each other at that point, and how that was spurring everybody on. And there was a mix of lots of different types of music that would just all came together and inspired people to push forward, and that was one of the things that made it such a great time, I think.
Rehearsing and playing in local pubs and just gradually building up a core following of mainly mates, really. Mainly just friends that would come along and watch us. But then as we travelled further afield, like north of the river, for instance, we discovered that we had fans there, or we were building fans there. And of course, you know, we would get to play in lots of different pubs as pub rock had been already taken off. Now, you know, there's lots of open mics, and people get up and do open mics everywhere. But I don't know if the pub culture's quite as ripe as it used to be.
The steeple, the lodging on the hill, the billboards and the buildings, memories of it still keep calling and calling.
What we have now with Squeeze is the tremendously lucky position to be, I think, and this might sound funny, we're outside of the mainstream, I know we are, yet we sell tickets like we're in the mainstream, and that's a lovely thing. We don't sell records like we're in the mainstream, but then very few people do.
I bought a novel, some perfume, a fortune all for you, but it's not my conscience that hates to be untrue.
It's not interesting to me, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm being condescending towards it. It's just not. It doesn't get me going in any way, shape, or form. So it's not on my radar. Sort of changes about, really. Tempted was one of the first ones that took us in a slightly different direction. It's when Squeeze started sort of growing up as a band, I think, so I'll say that for now.
I'd go along with that, and Up the Junction.
if you are a lady, perhaps she said, I may be. We moved into a basement with thoughts of our engagement. We stayed in by the telly, although the room was smelly. We spent our time just kissing, the railways we're missing. His lover got us hooked up, and all our time it took us. I got a job with Stanley, he said I'd come in handy. He started me on Monday, so I had a bath on Sunday. I worked 11 hours, bought the girl some flowers. She said she'd seen a doctor, and nothing now could stop her. I worked out through the winter, the weather brought some bitter. I put away a tenner each week to make it better. But when the time was ready, we had to sell the teddy. They gave us by the fire with little kicks inside her. This morning at 4:50, I took her rather nifty down to an incubator. But 30 minutes later, she gave birth to a daughter. Within a year, a walker. She looked just like a mother, if there could be another. Now she's 2 years older. Her mother's winter soldier. She left me with my drinking, became a proper stinging. The devil came and took me from Barter Street to Bookie. No more nights by the telly, no more nights nappy smelling. Well, I'm here in the kitchen, I feel there's something missing. I beg for some forgiveness, but begging's not my business. But she won't write a letter, though I always tell her. And so it's my assumption I'm really up the junction.